Well, hello everyone. This is Keckers here. Now, I just got finished watching the first episode of Star Trek Picard, and I wanted to talk a bit about it. Particularly because I've seen a lot of discourse around the internet around how this is apparently destroying the legacy of Star Trek and basically crapping on Gene Roddenberry's version of the future. That we're grown past all of the problems that we've become enlightened and stronger as a civilization in the Star Trek series. So the idea that the idea that the Federation would not help refugees, the idea that the Federation would give into xenophobia or bigotry as it pertains to synthetic beings, or even the desire to help the Romulans because they were once at war with them, goes a bit against the ideals of what Star Trek is. Well, here's the thing, and what I've always felt and gone through with Star Trek. You see, in Star Trek, the Federation's not perfect, because in Star Trek, people aren't perfect. Oh, yeah, there are times where they come across with these perfect utopian ideals, and yeah, those are ideals. They're good, they're strong, they're what the characters are supposed to be striving to. But quite often in the series, they fall short of that. One of these things you have to deal with and you have to talk about in the Federation is that what we're following, the crew of the Enterprise, the crew of the Deep Space Nine, all of this stuff, Voyager, these are the best of the best. These are the people who are supposed to emphasize and show who we are supposed to be and who we can be. And even they didn't always hold to those ideals every single time.
This planet will be handed over to the Cardassian government in accordance with the terms of the border agreement. I'm very sorry, but you will have to leave.
And if we do not?
Then I will be forced to remove you by whatever means are necessary.
Star Trek was constantly showing episodes like the Drumhead, showcasing how their utopia isn't just a finish line. It's not just a place they got to and then bam, yay, humanity's perfect. It's full of things where there's darker natures that we constantly have to fight against. Like I said, it is not a finish line. It's a never-ending marathon. And sometimes humanity is going to stumble, and it's so easy to backslide into those darker natures. Normally, we have a Picard speech, something that showcases where we should be and helps get us back on that track, get us back in that race. Well, apparently in Picard, people had forgotten. There was no Picard speech which could help them and guide them. And that's what his character's doing right now. He's coming back. He's supposed to be showcasing to the audience. And remember, for these sci-fi shows, those lessons, those Picard speeches, they're not for the characters. They're for you and me. The Federation's not perfect. Never has been. Hell, in every single episode where an admiral shows up, well, pretty much every single episode, they're the villains and the antagonists that our heroes, our Enterprise crew, has to show that they're upholding what the principles of the Federation or should be. Even something as far back as, I'd say, Star Trek Film 6, The Undiscovered Country. In that, it's the Federation who kills the Klingon Chancellor. It is because there are still higher-ups in the Federation who are so trapped in their biases and their beliefs that they can't see and won't see peace. They would rather work with their enemies to keep fighting than work with their enemies to stop fighting. We're in a kind of messed up place as a society, and a lot of the lessons of Star Trek, it seems we are forgetting. And I think we all need a Picard speech, which is what I'm thinking this is. I'm thinking this series is supposed to be a season-long Picard speech to the audience about how we've kind of forgotten the lessons of Star Trek. This isn't a show that's forgotten Star Trek. This is a show about what happens when you forget Star Trek. Vigilance. Vigilance. That's the price we have to continually pay to stave off the darkness inside of ourselves, to stave off the nature in ourselves to ignorance. The show has its problems so far. It's a little too actiony for my takes, but that's just modern television and modern sci-fi, I feel. But the message, what the show is about, that seems Star Trek to me. I don't think the dreams and the ideals of Star Trek are temporary. I think it's a constant fight, a constant struggle. And it's a struggle that we have to deal with forever. But that's not a bad thing, because that means that if we make a mistake, we have tomorrow to fix it, and then another tomorrow to keep going. The people in the Federation, the people on Star Trek weren't perfect. They weren't the future. They're just us. And we can be like them. We can be like Picard. Or we can just stop and stay stagnant. They didn't have it figured out all the time. We don't have it figured out all the time. We can still have this bright, optimistic future just by working better in the present. And that's the beauty of Star Trek to me. I'm just starting in this show, and wow, this has been a little bit like talking about what Star Trek means to me, talking about how much seeing Picard back and giving those lessons, I have no idea. Like I didn't realize how much I missed that, and how much I needed that, how much we need that. I'm glad to have Picard back, and this does feel like Picard to me. I'm going to be watching the next episode, and I'm hoping that everyone else gives it a chance to see where the story is going, because by the end of it, I feel we'll have the Star Trek, and we'll have the Starfleet, and we'll have the Federation that we want, because that's the point of this right now. Well, until we actually get there, I'm going to enjoy the ride, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.